Okay, so return of the Kremlin. Viz are fielding a Kremlin and a Yamato. Oh, interesting, we're seeing Minotaurs coming again. A couple of Smolensk Summers on their side versus a pair of Des Moines, another Minotaur. Shagan, nothing much in the way of the high explosive spammers here. At least not the seriously long range ones. Des Moines and Minotaur, of course, do exactly that. But not the traditional tournament layout by any means. What can I say? I have a bad case of exploding boat today, and also exploding cat. Right, on to the game. So, Hayashiro, Hooligan, Daft Punk, and McClang making the immediate run out for point A. Peggy Bundy is kind of ambling forwards towards point B. The Stalingrad is just getting underway, and the Burgoyne has turned out towards point A as well. It looks like Punks might be completely refusing C. Now, we've seen that before. It did not end well for the team that tried it, and we'll see what the enemy sees when they see that C has nothing on the C at C. That's going to get confusing if I have to keep referring to it like that. So, Peggy Bundy diving straight into point B. Remember, this is normally regarded as being a really bad idea in randoms, because if you're early into point B, you end up with a lot of enemies still with line of fire to the control point, something with radar, although I don't know what it's going to be. I just realized that Viz have not got a radar boat unless their Minotaur is actually a Mimitar setup. And given the AP that we've just seen whizzing over, that may or may not happen. And he's got Fred Krueger as backup as well, so he'll have some radar coverage. Peggy Bundy dropping the early torpedoes there into the smokescreen and starting the cap. So he's tipped his hand that he is there and making an early grab. This is either going to go down as the most successful unconventional play of the tournament, or Peggy is about to get shot many, many times and then fall over and explode. Armor piercing comes down. Yamato was not expecting that. And I think we're heading for the shot multiple times before exploding route. Peggy is being forced out of the cap at some speed. There's the Summers coming around as well. 13,000 health. He is going to make the escape corridor, I hope. Unless he's forgotten his Juliet Charlie. I don't think he has. No, he hasn't. You can see it flying proudly there on the mizzen mast as he engages in a bit of a beach party while his crew attempts to put out the various bits of damage. Now, how much have Viz seen? Have they realized that Punks have completely abandoned point C? Well, it's going to be a moot point for Hayashiro in a second. He's trying to get round to dodge torpedoes. He's going to squeak one, but I don't think he's going to squeak that second. Bonk. Okay, so he eats one, but it's a Minotaur. He can probably regenerate a sizable chunk of that. And there we go. He's got the new boat button going immediately and containing the flooding as well. So he gets away there. Point A is swinging over to control for Punks, which gives them an early territory advantage. Viz are being very slow to exploit this early weakness on C. I'm not sure if they've realized exactly what Punks have done here, because I think they're trying to almost bring their Kremlin round through point C. It would explain the last bearing and why we've only just seen point C going into conversion. But yeah, it's going to take a while for that Kremlin to come round onto the flank and start throwing shells. And arguably, you can suggest that they might have been better off parking it as an anchor here at the southeast corner of B. In fact, no, the Kremlin is not capping C. He's actually stayed here and is basically sitting back as a broadside heavy battery. He's got a shot onto Lambaz. He can probably punish Fred Kreuger as Fred crosses the gap and moves into Suicide Alley himself. Now, the question is, does Gineo know about Fred? Remember, we can't see what they've spotted. Okay, there's the salvo out from the Kremlin. Most of it donks and we get one shell into Lambaz's belt, which does mean that all of a sudden Fred Kreuger is sitting very carefully and suddenly realizing that he doesn't necessarily want to go diving in to point B just yet. There's a Minotaur, well, half a Minotaur in front of him, and various angry Russian boats over the other side. The Smolensk takes a quick look. The Des Moines gets a whacking great salvo in with the 8-inch AP. Smolensk, remember, is a rather delicate ship, despite her reputation for industrial quantities of Dakar. Torpedo beat there against Lead Scar, but it's forced him to break his cover. We have some shells coming down from the Des Moines of Darth Punk. He's trying to break away, but that has forced him out of cover, and Punk had something of a solution here. Later gets reacquired, but he's into the defensive turn. We have rounds coming down. I think, however, he's done enough to break away. If he can get behind the island, or then again, maybe he hadn't done enough, and Darth Punk and Fred Kreuger focus their fire, bring down the Minotaur, and it's first blood there. So, no Minotaur left for Vis Unita Fortior. They've taken C, though, but they're not really exploiting this flank. We haven't seen the Summers for a while, and maybe he's the one tiptoeing round to the northeast to provide spotting and crossfire torpedoes. But Viz are being fairly cautious, and they've let Punks come right through A. Okay, they've extracted a heavy toll in hit points. Peggy Bundy's down to 2,500. Hooligans down to 9,000. McClang Smolensk is on half health. The Burgoyne's taking a beating. But we're not really seeing much coordinated fire coming in here. None of the Blizzard breaking away. Okay, Hooligans is taking some more hits. And I think that's a Smolensk firing at him. 2 Smolensks, in fact. I wonder if this is the moment that Viz are going to turn the screw, close the trap on them, and start hammering down some Punks. 700 health, 600 health. Hooligans not really got anywhere to go at this point. 169, 115, boom. There goes the destroyer. Now, he did spot these torpedoes, so McClang shouldn't have too much trouble evading, and in fact, they're going to go nowhere near, but his smoke is also expiring, so McClang needs to start motoring fairly rapidly. He's about to lose his cover. Fred Kreuger goes down as well. He did succeed in taking point B, but unfortunately, when the Kremlin came round the corner, he just did not have an answer to an angry Russian battleship at 5,000 meters. And let's face it, very few people do. So Cornelio doing what he can. He's got 2 jobs at this point. The first is to finish putting down Peggy with a close-range salvo. Although, interestingly, he's actually going for Darth Punk, mostly because Darth Punk is flat broadside and at what you might call kill range for a Russian battleship, but Punk somehow survives, rides the worst of the fire, and manages to get the bow round. It won't actually help him all that much, because unlike 15-inch guns on the Burgoyne, the DM's bow is only 27 mil. It can't deflect the 18-inch guns on the Kremlin, but I honestly thought that Scipio there was going to try to quickly put down the Z-52 before Peggy got more torpedoes into play. He may just be settling instead for rapidly Dakaring down Darth Punk, but rapid fired Dakar is what does the job. We're seeing shot calling coming in from Viz now, and that's starting to turn it. And all of a sudden, the game has swung around, hasn't it? You take your eye off the scoreboard for 30 seconds, and suddenly, oh look, Viz are firmly ahead. They're 4 ships up. Point B is swinging. Make that 6 ships up to 1. 5 ships up, rather. Bleh. Brain's going. And the Kremlin breaks contact. Juneo is at liberty to finish his cap of point B. And there's the flanking boat. No one managed to get round the side and is now in a good position to start harassing Hayashiro and the other ships, just putting the pressure on them. Meanwhile, to the southwest of the map, we've got Junior Soitubi in the other Zhao, again doing what Zhaos do best in a tournament, sitting back and just burning everything. And in this case, everything happens to be one rather unfortunate Smolensk. McClang there taking some hits. He's down to 680 health, and it really doesn't matter who connects the next salvo. He's dead anyway. So, McClang down. Suddenly it is down to a Yamato, a Burgoyne, and a Minotaur. Okay, make that down to approximately a quarter of a Yamato, because Lambaz is trying to charge an angry smokescreen. Well, he's trying to charge an angry smokescreen through another smokescreen, and in fairness, it almost worked. Hayashiro has managed to get behind Scipio and dumps his torpedoes, so that's 8 in the water, but Scipio sees it, gets the rudder over. He's going to dodge the worst of it. Ooh, okay, he eats 2 there, takes another one on the stern, but Russian Damcon eats a 4th on the belt, and by way of revenge, well, Hayashiro is now caught between him and no one's Zhao. Scipio, however, is more interested in the Yamato that he's come up behind in his turn. So I suspect we're not going to see too much more of Lambaz. There we go. Zuzza goes down, Lambaz goes down, and Hayashiro at this point, with a Zhao bow on and deflecting most of his armor piercing, and not much by way of reply, turns hard, tries to get his torpedoes away, but opens himself up to armor piercing in the process, and that is game. Vis taking it very, very spectacularly in the second half once again.